If you're perimenopausal or postmenopausal, you're finding belly fat is creeping up and just proving incredibly hard to get rid of. If you're struggling with the brain fog, if your energy is up and down and all over the place, this video is going to be for you. Essentially, what worked in your 30s just does not serve you any longer. And that's where we need to make a few changes backed by science that are going to get you the results if you use them, and it's probably going to be a heck of a lot easier than you think it's going to be. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kate. I share a weekly video with you every Monday around something related to menopause. If there's anything you would like me to add in a future episode, just drop it in the comments or send me an email, katehartleyuk@gmail.com, and I would be glad to add that into the rotation. So just quickly, perimenopause is when your hormones are starting to fluctuate. That can last up to 10 years. Then what you have is one day of menopause, which marks the day since you've no longer had a period for 12 months, and thereafter you're completely postmenopausal. You can be premenopausal, which is before any of the symptoms start. So you're premenopausal after puberty, and then perimenopausal is when your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone are starting to fluctuate. That's when you're likely to have the most significant symptoms. Menopause is one day, and then the rest of that is postmenopausal. I went through my perimenopause early. I've been postmenopausal for probably about 15 years now, and it does get better. I still get the odd occasional symptom, but over the whole journey, I've found what works, what doesn't work. I've used myself as a guinea pig in numerous occasions, and I've also worked with a lot of women, both mental health and physical health, in helping them achieve their goals. And this is science-backed, and it does work when you use it. I'm excited to share it with you because it's probably a lot easier than you think it's going to be. Today's video very much is around what sort of exercise you should be doing. You know I'm going to say strength training. If you've watched any of my videos before, strength training, if you could only do one kind of exercise post-perimenopausal and postmenopausal, it will be strength training. I'm going to explain why today, but I'm also going to talk about high intensity interval training, otherwise known as HIIT, and also SIT. So that is sprint interval training, which falls underneath the HIIT umbrella, but it's slightly different and it's highly effective. And again, I'm going to explain why we ought to be incorporating a couple of sessions a week and how to add those into an already busy schedule. See, why does exercise need to change as we go through our perimenopausal years and beyond? It's because what's going on internally is starting to shift, and we need to shift with it. So a lot of us have grown up in the years where, it was do the cardio, the long aerobic sessions, the long runs, just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And actually that is not helping you. If you love your long distance running, it's a decision you have to take, because long distance running, extended periods of cardio, whether that's, your hour-long aerobic session, whatever it might be, that has a catabolic effect on the body. You go through perimenopause and beyond, our body does not assimilate protein as effectively as it used to do. And we are losing muscle and bone mass at a faster rate each year. So we need to be really mindful of not doing the things that are going to speed up that muscle loss and that bone loss. One of those things is cardio. You will not find any long distance runners that are bulky with muscles. None of them are. They're all skinny, thin, and highly fit as far as their heart and lung health goes, but they don't carry extra muscle because of the way the training works. We really want to be focusing on building lean muscle. You're not going to get bulky. You have not got enough testosterone in your body. And actually, even if you said to me, I want to get really bulky, you are going to have to work so darn hard in order to even start to get mildly bulky, because of the fact that we don't assimilate protein as well as we used to do. We have got that catabolic effect of raised cortisol in the body, which breaks down our tissues more quickly, and we're just not as responsive as we used to be, that the right kind of exercise has on us. So you're going to have to work really hard if you want to get even vaguely bulky. So for the vast majority of us who do not want to get bulky, please do not let that be a concern of yours. So as we go through perimenopause and beyond, we become less insulin sensitive, which means that we have more glucose swimming around in our bloodstream than we did previously. When that happens, we have a tendency to put on belly fat. It's also related to cortisol. We have 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors around our belly than we do in any other part of the body. And cortisol does naturally rise as we go through our menopausal years. So just be mindful of that. One thing you might want to try is mulberry leaf tea. You can just buy it from, make sure you get a good quality one, but there's Amazon, health food shops, all sorts of places sell it. But it has had quite an impact on lowering your blood sugar levels. So much so that there are contraindications for people who are taking diabetes medication, that there's not a risk of them becoming hypoglycemic when they, or if they start to drink mulberry leaf tea. So give it some consideration. It just helps if you've got a carb heavy meal, struggling with your blood sugars. Maybe having that while you're having your meal, or just before or just after, might have a positive impact on your blood sugar levels, which is going to have a positive impact on getting rid of belly fat. Obviously, that has to be part and parcel of a healthy lifestyle. You can't just start to drink mulberry leaf tea and think, oh, it's all going to fall away. We're thinking about exercise, strength training for longevity. It's not just your muscles. It helps with your gut health, helps boost your immune system, helps with your brain health. It is such an important factor for our overall longevity. It helps reduce the risks of dementia. The women have a much greater risk of developing Alzheimer's, dementia, and part of that might well be due to falling estrogen levels, but also the increase in inflammation in our bodies that happens as we get older, and also the fact that a lot of us are becoming more sedentary because we think, obviously we are getting older, but I think there is that misconception out there that as you get older, yes, you do have your aches and pains. We don't quite have as much natural energy as we used to do, but that's no excuse to not actually look after ourselves and not take the steps that we need to do in order to be as healthy and physically strong and mentally strong as we could be. Another reason is because our blood lipids shift. So our LDL, our not so healthy cholesterol levels, go up. Again, that contributes to storing more fat. That is inflammatory. And whenever we have something happening in the body that has an inflammatory effect on us, that can cause the body to hang on to more fat, to store more fat, and also make it more difficult for us to release fat. So if long duration cardio doesn't work, what does? And I'm going to break that down now. Like I said, if the only time you have available is to do strength training, stick with your strength training. And even if you're a complete beginner to exercise, it is never too late to start. I would ideally recommend you either go to your gym and have a session with your PT, or get an online workout, or there's loads of free workouts on YouTube you can find these days. Make sure you're using proper form. I'm actually working on a document at the moment which is going to go through 4 weeks of beginner level exercises for you to follow. It's not going to be video based, certainly not at this stage, but it is going to be highly descriptive, and it's going to make sure that you're doing it safely in the correct manner, and sort of the range of weights and the reps that you ought to be thinking of doing. And like I said, it is going to be starting right at the baby level. So it's going to be something that you can start to incorporate and not feel intimidated by, and not feel like you're about to die after you've done some of these moves for a few minutes. They're going to be between 20 and 30 minutes at the absolute maximum. They're very doable, and I highly encourage you. I will be sharing that on my Menopause Monday YouTube when I've got it ready. Just be adding it as a link in the description box. So if it's something that you would like to have, just keep your eyes on my upcoming future episodes. It will be released very soon, and then I'll be able to make sure that I can get that to you. Subscribe to the channel, and then you're not going to miss any of the upcoming episodes. And while I'm at it, if you're finding this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. So aside from your strength training, what I think is a really easy way of incorporating your SIT, so your sprint interval training, is to do it at the end of an upper body day. So upper body, you're not absolutely at the end of your tether. After a legs day, lower body, you're using bigger muscles. You're often feeling a little bit more fatigued at the end of a lower body workout session. Your upper body, you've probably got a little bit more left in the tank. And your sprint interval training, don't confuse it with your traditional HIIT, which is where you're you might be doing EMOMs, so every minute on the minute. You might be doing, 80% of your capability, so the rate of perceived exertion. And we all have different RPEs, rates of perceived exertion. So 80% for you will be entirely different to somebody else that's doing the same exercise. So always work within your envelope. And 80%, it's pretty hard. You probably can't say many words at 80%, but sit training is in your 95% range. That literally it is a short burst of absolute intense activity, as much as you can manage for about 20 to 30 seconds. And that's all. And then you have to 2 or 3 minutes rest in between. You need that rest for the body to recover properly and the various mechanisms in the body to do what they need to do to reduce the belly fat, to make sure that the energy is going to the mitochondria in your cells, so that when you've finished your workout, you're burning fat as fuel afterwards, and it's not going through the liver and then being stored as esteric fatty acids, which tends to happen if we're not doing our sit training. So just backing away from that sort of scientific bit a little. Things you could do are burpees. They could be star jumps, depending on your pelvic floor strength. It could be just running up the stairs as fast as you can. It could be mountain climbers. I absolutely hate mountain climbers, but I do mountain climbers when I'm doing my sit training. So find 2 or 3 exercises that you think you can do relatively well for 20 to 30 seconds of really intense activity. And I promise you, after 2 or 3 rounds of these, you will be huffing and puffing like a mad thing. And then you may need to make sure you've got 2 or 3 minutes of rest in between each of those 20 to 30 second sessions. And you only do it 2 or 3 times. If you're thinking, oh no, I've got more in the tank, I can do another 4 or 5 sessions, then you're not pushing hard enough. Your RPE, your rate of perceived exertion, is not high enough. It needs to be at that absolute top level. You can't say anything to anyone. You can probably just about grunt while you're doing these exercises, but they are so effective. And literally it takes you 2 to 3 minutes, and you've added a really effective short burst of high energy activity to the end of maybe your 20-minute upper body workout. So it's very easy to fit it in. After a workout, I think is the best, because you're all warmed up, your joints are oiled, your muscles are moving quite nicely. You wouldn't want to just, I think, get out of bed and do a sit workout because of the sudden into movement, into high intensity activity, and you've not warmed up at all. So always make sure you're warmed up before you do something like that. HIIT training is also a really important aspect of maintaining a healthy weight and body composition and brain clarity as we're going through the menopause. I would say if you've only got time for strength training and sit, do those. With HIIT training, you could do something like 45 seconds of air squats and then going up onto your tiptoes. So literally it's no weights. You're just down in a squat with good form, and then up on your tiptoes, down, up, down. And you maybe do 45 of those, and then you have maybe a minute to 90 seconds of recovery until you feel your heart rate coming back down again. And then you would repeat that. You could change the activity, to be quite honest. You don't have to keep doing the air squats, but go through a few ideas. It could be star jumps. It can be a plank where you're moving one knee out to your elbow and then the other one out to the elbow, and you're doing that quite quickly. That is quite high intensity. It doesn't have to be jumping. It can all be low impact. It could be a running plank. It could be not quite so intensive mountain climbers. So you might not be actually your feet leaving running on the floor. You're just doing it all low impact. So it's pretty hard. Your knees are coming up, your arms are going up, but you're not actually running while you're doing it. Do that for about 45 seconds, let your heart rate come down, and then you would do that another sort of probably 4 or 5 times, again with suitable recovery time in between, and then that would be your HIIT session done. A lot of people use EMOMs. I really like EMOMs. So basically it's every minute on the minute. You have a 60-second piece of time, and you might try and do 20 reps of a particular movement during that 60-second piece of time. And if you manage to get your reps done faster, you've got more time for a rest and recovery. If you took a longer period of time, you would make sure that you cut off, so you've got an absolute minimum of 15 seconds before you start your next set of reps. This is about mitochondria. So mitochondria are like the little powerhouses of our cells. They're like the little batteries. And actually, as you're doing exercise, you're fueling those mitochondria. But through menopause and beyond, we tend not to fuel up as fast and as effectively as we used to do. It's like trying to drink through a straw that's got a small hole in it. When the straw works well, you've like stuck it up and it's brilliant. But when you've got a small hole in it, it's aspirated. And so you're sucking really hard, but not quite so much fluids coming up the straw. And that helps to explain a little bit that we're still putting all the effort in, but we're not getting quite so much result for the effort that we're putting in. So high intensity work includes sit as well as the sprint interval training. It helps improve your mitochondrial efficiency. It helps pull glucose directly out of the bloodstream. It helps to reduce the esterified fatty acids, which are the ones which tend to end up as belly fat. And it also triggers lactate production, which is something that the brain loves. Lactate production is also really important for the health of your brain and your cognition. So it's going to help you counteract things like brain fog, memory loss, etc. And you might be thinking, but is lactate milk? Or is it the stuff that makes your muscles sore? Not exactly. Lactate is a fuel and it's produced while we're doing those high intensity workouts. It's produced primarily from your fast twitch muscle fibers, which is something we tend to lose as we get older and go through perimenopause and beyond. But the brain actually needs lactate to work properly, and it actually prefers it as fuel during periods of stress and high demand. So when we stop training intensely, or when we've never ever trained intensely, we become deficient in those levels of lactate, which has a negative impact on how our brain functions. So how can you fit in the stuff that you need to be doing in order to keep lean, strong, keep your gut health on point, balance your hormones, and help your brain health too? Because I think we all do think about the aesthetics. We think about the muscle building and the stronger bones, but it goes so much deeper than that. And if you're struggling with menopause symptoms, one of the best things that you can do is to strength train, because it improves your gut health, which improves your immune function. About 80% of your immunity, your immune system, is in the gut. Your gut is where the vast majority of your happy hormones are made. So if you're struggling with low mood, depression, anxiety, insomnia, again, strength training is really going to be beneficial for you, as well as the fact it helps to prevent cognitive decline, which should be one of the main reasons we're all thinking we need to strength train. So how do you fit all of this in if you're tight on time and you're really busy and you have absolutely no idea how to start? I would start with 2 strength training sessions a week. Make sure that you allow enough recovery time in between your strength training sessions. Maybe on a Monday you do upper body, and on a Thursday possibly you do lower body, or you might choose to do a total body, so all over body on Monday, and again do the same on Thursday or Friday. Gives you plenty of recovery time in between both of those. You're not going to do yourself any harm, but make sure that you're focusing on the best form. And don't get too tied up with the weights that the heaviness of the weights that you're using. If indeed you have any weights, if you've got no dumbbells, if you don't go to a gym, if you have no bands or loops, you can use your body weight. You can do push-ups, you can do squats, you can do lunges, you can do, raise your arm like they do in Pilates. Like, just do this stand on one leg, because that's going to strengthen your core. It's going to strengthen your leg muscles, pull your bum muscles in to keep you nice and strong. And you just do mini circles with your hands. See how long you can do that before you get really, really tired. It's made me hot already. And then go back the other way. You can do this and pull down. But really focus on pulling down and making all your back muscles really tight, and your chest and your core muscles all really tight. You can do that on the floor. So lie on the floor with your head face down, and then lift up your arms, keep your legs on the floor, keep your feet on the floor, tighten your bum muscles to support you, pull in your tummy button, and then lift up your arms and do this. So you're lying flat on the floor and you're literally it's your arms that are coming off the ground. Those sorts of exercises are going to be so powerful, and people poo-poo bodyweight exercises, and they're wrong to do that, because bodyweight exercises can be really, really impactful too. And yes, I did start off with suggesting you can do push-ups or press-ups. I hate the things. Absolutely hate them. I can just about manage to do them. I normally modify these days, so I do them on my knees. But you might find that you're really struggling to do them with good form on your knees too. So you can do them against a wall. Stand against a wall, bring out your feet a little bit, and then you can just push in and push back. You want to make sure your hands, a lot of people use their hands too high, just putting too much pressure on your shoulders. You want your hands sort of around chest level, and then you're pushing in, you're pushing out. So there is so much that you can start to do, even if you have never ever done anything before. If you follow a regular strength training routine, then you know what I'm saying at the moment probably does not apply to you because you know what you're doing. But are you actually doing it regularly? Because the amount of women that I've worked with who know exactly what they should be doing and they just say, oh, I've got no motivation, can't find the time, can't be bothered. Think about the things you're avoiding by doing strength training, i.e., okay, you're going to help get rid of belly fat, but most importantly, you're going to look after your brain health, you're going to keep your bones strong, you're going to help the glucose be absorbed from your bloodstream effectively, so you're going to help prevent things like diabetes too. There is so much that you're going to be benefiting yourself by doing strength training. I would add after an upper body workout, because like I say, you're not depleted, that's when I would do my sprint interval training. And when I do it, I do 30 seconds, I put my timer on and I do 30 seconds of mountain climbers as hard as I can do them. And then I rest for 2 to 3 minutes. And then the next session, I will do burpees for as many. If I burn out before 30 seconds, I don't care. It's not necessarily making sure you manage 30 seconds. I aim for 30 seconds, but if I can only do 22 seconds, I stop after 22 seconds. But I'm doing burpees as fast as I can. And then again, I'm having sort of 2 to 3 minutes of rest. And then my final blitz, if I'm doing 3 rounds, sometimes I'll just do the 2. But if I really feel I want to give it another go, I do jumping star jumps. So I sort of crouch down and start, jump up. And I do that. I can normally manage about 25 seconds of those before I've completely given in. So, and then that's it. That's it. So it's not even 90 seconds of intense activity, but it is so effective. So if you're going to do that, do it after maybe like your upper body or maybe a core cardio day where you're already warmed up. You might have done some HIIT training and then you add your sit onto the end of that as well. And then in between, make sure you're leaving plenty of time for walking and also recovery days. Makes me laugh because recently I did a very long trip and you stop at the service station, go and get refreshments, etc., walk the dogs, whatever it might be. And people try and park so close to the entrance of the service station, bearing in mind the vast majority of people are traveling long distances. When you're doing something like that, I really encourage you, whether it's grocery shopping or service stations or whatever it might be, park as far away as you can. It really helps you get extra steps in, unless you're one of those people who, you work at a school or you're in a hospital or something, so naturally you're getting loads of steps in every single day. The vast majority of us are walking far less than we should be. So help yourself by parking further away from the shops or the service station or wherever it might be, so that you're forced to walk a little bit further. And rather than using the lift, use the stairs and try and make sure use your legs more often than the vast majority of us are doing, because it's a really great way of just keeping that steady state cardio going, sort of the level 2. That's quite a nice zone for fat burning, but it's gentle. It's easy, it's not going to get you sweaty, and it's something that you can easily incorporate. So it's not about doing more. If you've been working out in the past, you're probably needing to do less than you have previously been doing, but it's about being more strategic about what you do. High intensity, when it's done right, can help you stay strong, sharp, focused and energized into midlife and well beyond. And strength training, it's not just about your muscles or strong bones. It's going to help your brain, help your immune system, help your gut health. It's just going to help you all round. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for your company today, and I will look forward to catching you again soon. By the way, if you haven't done so yet, please give it a thumbs up. And if there's anything you would like me to include in a later episode, just send me a message, drop a comment, and I'll make sure to add that to the rotation.